Hi.
Hi. Give me 1 second. Just
Oh my goodness.
making
What
my
is
way.
happening here? Okay, is that better? Okay.
I think. I don't know.
There
What
we
was
go.
wrong?
It was just like a white screen. I think
Oh,
because this room doesn't have any windows. If I'm on Zoom and there's a window there, I've got to brighten it up because it's too
oh, okay.
yeah. How are
It's
you?
not bad, not bad.
Good.
Looking on through. So you had your what looks like your Christmas party or something the other day.
We did. Yeah, let me turn that up because I can't hear you very well. Yeah, so that was good. That was good. What about you guys? Do you do
Yeah,
one
good.
or
No, well, they're doing Agent Locator is doing something on the first. I believe they're doing like a theater, like a dinner or like it's a lunch show kind of theater. I don't too kind of like the one of the actor studios or something like that.
so do you
So
fly in to be part of
no, not this year. No, not this year. Sometimes I have in the past, but not this year. So
it? Okay.
and just other than that, just plugging away. The year is coming to an end pretty close here, and things haven't really slowed down like too much. So I'm
No,
sure we're gonna see that in the next couple of weeks, likely. People start
a big
doing their
slowdown.
inspections. Well, it's just like people have other things they're
Yeah,
working on, like their
yeah,
obligations, right? Other things to focus on. So,
yeah,
and real estate generally within that time kind of slows down as well, right?
yeah.
The consumer also has obligations that they're more focused on. So
So
definitely
what will
a
you
little
do?
bit of a shift.
Will you cut your training down a little bit to,
No, like the training will still more or less remain the same.
yeah,
Through those times, like it's almost like you almost don't expect too much happening. But people can surprise you sometimes as well, right? You're gonna still have those go-getters that just push through it 100%. They don't slow down just because
hmm,
everyone else is.
yeah, yeah.
So it really it's a mixed bag. What I find when we're booking more individual sessions, you find more people rescheduling because
Oh,
something came
really,
right.
eh?
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
they kind of book it in ahead, anticipating I'll be there, and then for whatever reason they're not able to make it and want to push it out, which we're fine with as long as we have notice, like
Yeah.
the courtesy of not the last
Well,
minute or at the time of the
television.
appointment,
Yeah.
right? It's like,
Well, same thing happens to me even from the manager role, right? You got all these
mm-hmm,
appointments booked and then 5 minutes, oh, can't come or no shows, right? And I'm like,
mm-hmm.
we're all realtors. Don't we value each other's time a little better
I
than,
know,
you
I
know?
know, yeah,
And I
it's
think too, right now, because for the most part, business is slow,
mm-hmm,
right? Buyers are sitting on the fence right now. That's the reality, at least across the GTA and East.
mm-hmm,
And sometimes I think if you do get somebody that actually does want to go out, like you're really jumping on it
mm-hmm,
because the majority of the clients are kind of just holding,
yeah,
and that could be a factor too for what you're seeing is, oh my God, somebody's wants to see a house. Woo!
yeah, yeah, right.
My offer in hand.
I got something. I got something. I gotta go. I gotta go.
Ready. It's
Which it
great.
is. You still have the people that have to buy, right? And we're still seeing the listings coming up every day. Not like that stopped. Because there's always people that have to move, or they're okay with listing right now. They're not too worried about it, right?
Yeah,
Or they have
days
to, or
on the
they.
market are very, very significant right now, because there's
Mm-hmm,
too many listings and not enough buyers. So
mm-hmm.
it's tough. I think it'll turn around in the new year. That's my personal projection
I
is
think, like, and I think a lot of people now, like, just being time of year, they're just like, well, we'll just wait to the new year now, right? They're not pressured to move. They're not,
yeah,
anxious to do
yeah,
it. So they,
yeah.
we'll just wait. It's not.
Most definitely, but we need to make money. So we need to figure out another way to kind of motivate these people, right?
Yes, yes,
Hopefully. I always say, you know what, I always say this, Crystal, and welcome everybody that's here so
yes.
far. Thank you for putting us into your schedule. You know, my go-to line in Christmas and summer has always
Mhm.
been, Christmas is here, don't disappear. You
Yeah.
know, so
Okay.
many aid people in commission sales, you know, get caught up with whatever the time of year is and the vacationing or whatever it is. But you know, if you can make yourself available, and I'm not saying you have to be available 30 days out of the month when it's a holiday season, but you know, there can be business there that you don't even realize, but you won't realize it if you don't return your calls or so forth, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Exactly. It's
plan it very carefully. I've talked to a lot of agents. Hey, listen, maybe this is something we should talk about today. I
mhm.
talked to a lot of agents who are going away on trips, which I mean, 'tis the season, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
None of us really like winter, so right
Yeah.
off the page, there we go. And it is very convenient for all of us to be able to do our leads and so forth because we travel with iPads or laptops or
Yeah,
phones, right?
exactly.
However, I still think it's really important to have a realtor backup for you here.
Mhm.
And what I find is sometimes when you don't pre-plan it ahead of time, hey, Joe, I'm going away. You know, can I give you all my people's current contact info? Can I pass along all the pertinent information? And can you be available for me? You
Mhm.
know, now you're sitting on a beach somewhere, you end up having a buyer that wants to see a property and they want to see it today. You're hours behind or hours ahead and you've got
Mhm.
nobody lined up to help you. And
Yeah.
I've been as the manager here in that position where they're reaching out to me saying, Tara, I'm in Dominican and somebody wants to see a house at 4 o'clock. And I'm like, well, who's your backup?
Mhm.
Who did you have lined up to
Yeah.
cover? You know, so I think, Crystal, that goes without saying that as much as we can do business wherever we are, we really have to think what is the best thing for our clients. And our best
Mhm.
thing is a live body that they can reach out to if they can't reach out to you because of a time difference or because of something because you're away. It's food
No,
for
absolutely. It's definitely because yeah, you don't want to be left in one of those situations. And I think in hindsight, a lot of people are hoping it doesn't come to that because they maybe need the money, so they don't want to have to give out the referral fee if they don't have to, right?
Yeah, I
So,
get that. I get
right.
that. What is in the best interest for your
Yeah.
client?
No,
You
absolutely,
know,
because you're
and
going to lose them all together if you can't, or potentially lose them all together if
you
you
really
can't
could.
fulfill them, right?
You
So
really
it,
could. And listen, from I've been doing Google pay-per-click leads for as long as I can remember. We're pushing almost 19 years now for me
mhm, mhm,
personally.
yeah,
You know, do you know how many leads I've picked up who haven't already signed a buyer representation agreement? And these leads have said to me, my agent is away. And I've said, as a realtor, who's the agent on call for that person? They never told me. Okay, that's fine. I'll show you the property.
yeah,
You know, snooze, you lose.
yeah,
Have your business protected when you're away by having somebody that will answer them for you and keep you in the
mhm,
loop, right?
yeah,
And we all know, Crystal, as soon as you plan a vacation, you're going to be busier than you ever have been your
yeah,
entire year. I mean,
mhm.
that's just the
It's just how
nature
it goes. Yeah.
of right? Don't complain to me you're slow. Book a vacation, it'll all
Yeah.
change like this. And it'll change like 24 hours before you go,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
It definitely always happens. No,
So I
that's
guess
for sure.
we're getting close to, you know, the Christmas. I mean, we're
Mhm,
talking about it. It's December very soon. For those that are with us, Crystal, in
mhm,
Ontario, significant changes
mhm,
this Friday, along with major changes and a lot of forms and new forms being introduced.
mhm,
Um, I'm doing an open house on one of my listings on Saturday. So today, and anybody else, please share your opinions on this. Today, I thought to myself, maybe web forms has updated some of our new forms that I'm now going to need doing my open house on Saturday, and none of them are there yet. They did tell us, Crystal, that those forms would be in the system on December 1st. So it's not like it's not like I didn't
Yeah.
know. I'm really kind of hoping maybe they would have put them in so that I could start
Yeah.
hearing.
Yeah.
Our RICO information guide, this is the guide that we have to give out to every person in order for them to be able to declare they're self-representing or they're going to work with us as a client. That on the RICO site still says advanced copy, not for use. So everybody going forward, if you are in Ontario, please on December the 1st, check the RICO website, have that information guide handy to you. It is our responsibility to give that to everybody, even at an open house, so that they can review it and declare whether or not they are there to self-represent or be a client. And of course, they have to sign forms. So we'll see what happens. I'm a planner and I'm like, please be there just by sake so I can at least review them and have everything and they're not there.
Yeah, no, but it's always better to be prepared. And it's hard if they hold to the last minute to release it to you as well, because it's hard to prepare then, right?
Yeah.
When you have an open house the next day and like now you've got to either scurry, if they happen to release them all on that day, then anyone that has business on that day is now scurrying to get all the info packs and information that they need.
Yeah, and get to know them. I mean, we have to be able to speak about these forms. We have to explain them. Now, for any of us that have done the TRESA updating, I'm doing another one on Thursday. The latest TRESA update videos, or live webinars, I should say, over the last 2 weeks have been a little bit more informative. They're really going through, from what I understand, different scenarios and how to play it out. I did hear at our board meeting last week, a real estate lawyer got up and spoke. A lot of these forms are going to be in the plain English forms as well, which will help us kind of field our way through it. But interestingly enough, I started about 3 months ago incorporating into my leads and into my drip campaign an update for everybody on the fact that our Real Estate Act in Ontario has significantly changed and that buyers are going to have to make a decision up front. And I had my first reply. And the gentleman said, hey, Tara, thank you so much for this. What I did back then was I incorporated the link in my email for RICO, for the TRESA page on RICO. And I directed everybody, if you want to know what the changes are, here's the link, read it. It's really important that you understand that we're going to be asking you 2 very important questions right at the get-go. So this guy replies back to me and he goes, hey, Tara, I really appreciate this. I had no idea. So they live out of province and they are wanting to move to Ontario. So he wouldn't know, would he?
No.
Well, listen, everybody in Ontario, unless your realtor doesn't know, because RB has chosen to do 0 advertising about these changes. So he read it through and then he said to me, just to let you know, I'm SRP. And I thought, interesting. Now, how do I respond? He's self-representing himself. I can't help you. So I replied back and said, okay, no problem. I appreciate that. His name was Kevin. And I said, what I'm going to send you further is an information guide that RICO has come up with since I made this email. And now it's going to tell you all of the things that are now going to be required of you and not me if you're self-representing yourself. Because sadly, and I always say that, sadly, when you're an SRP, my hands are tied. And that's the good thing about the RICO information guide It is
Mm-hmm.
written in such a way, you can download the advanced copy, but it does say not for use. So clearly we can't give it to our people yet.
Mm-hmm.
It is written in a way, folks, that actually really outlines specifically all the disadvantages to anybody that chooses to self-represent themselves. We can't give advice. We can't talk about price. We can't do an offer with them. We can show them the listing if it's our listing, because we have fiduciary duties to our sellers. It's really complicated. So I think it's really important that they have that information, because maybe they
Yeah.
won't be making that decision to SRP.
Yeah. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, what would be like somebody's motivation to do that on the buying side? Like
Yeah.
I can see where it's like on a listing side, you see all the
Yeah.
FISBOs go up. You know, there's money to be saved, but on the buying side, it's not generally it's not costing this buyer to be represented
Right.
and
Right.
having somebody act in their best interest. So I'm not sure what, unless he thinks maybe he's going to be going for more FISBOs and trying to negotiate directly with sellers. Who knows?
I think, it could be, and everybody here, speak up if this is an open forum,
Yeah.
because we're all navigating this, if you're in Ontario, with some knowledge for sure. But, you can't help but think to themselves, are they thinking that they are a for sale by buyer, right?
Yeah.
Like a for sale by owner? Or are they thinking that they're kind of like, oh, this is the old school customer service where they could still do offers with me and they could do this?
Mm-hmm.
Where I've been gaining my best knowledge, no offense to RIA no offense to any of the people that are offering webinars. I think we should be on them all. But when I've listened to now 2 real estate lawyers speak and give scenarios, it definitely resonates more with me. But I'm looking at this, if we can throw it back, Crystal, to our leads. I'm looking at this going, I would rather be the one, since it's my name in their inbox every day, who's introducing these changes to them, because nobody else is from Maria and Rico, right? There's no public advertising. And I don't want to be in a position where I'm showing them a house and now I'm blindsiding them.
Yeah.
By the way, things have changed, because they don't know. So I'm kind of looking at it as an opportunity to say, here's some changes, and then redirecting them to the portal, Rico, for gaining their knowledge, so that I'm not going to be blamed. She's making me fine, because ultimately
I'm giving you all the information.
realtors get the blame for all this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So no, and that's, yeah, I think giving them the resources to look through and read for themselves what this actually means, because things are shifting. Shabana mentioned that someone's, process or thought on self-representing could be that they're using just one realtor for everything and getting kickbacks from them, whether it's, sending them out, go look at the houses, we'll put offers, they'll give you kickbacks. Whatever you buy, could like if it's an investor.
And I agree. I think that's what they think they're going to continue to get. Here's and Shabana, hi Shabana. Here is what the issue is. When they're self-representing, and if we still show them a home, let's just say, they're signing a form that says they're self-representing. That then does not allow them to sign a buyer rep
with another agent for that property, for that specific
that property. Yeah, for that property. So it really is going to, down the road, benefit us. How many times have we been, hung to dry because of a lazy agent who doesn't want to physically show the properties and has said, call the listing agent? So ultimately it's in our best interest, no doubt about it. But these people are going to have to sign a document, which I believe is an under seal document. I only saw it very quickly on the ARIA webinar. So let's see what happens then. But again, going back to our leads, it's a great opportunity for you to show them that you are yet again another source of real estate information.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Without telling them too much. You know, I really believe that we got to direct them to the Rico site. But I do plan on sending everybody a copy once Rico downloads not the advanced, that Rico information guide. That is on my radar December the 1st to make sure all of my leads get the link that will take them right to that guide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good information to be passing along, that's for sure. I see Felix has his hand up, so Felix, I will allow you to talk. Gonna unmute yourself if you have a question
Felix
that you
has
find
been with
or
us
comment.
many times before. Hi, Felix. Oh, he's still muted.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he wanted to ask a question in typing, or you have to, if you want to speak, Felix, you just have to unmute yourself. So, but
well,
yeah,
we'll
I think too, it's like, you know, it's a great way to potentially, like, even if you're blasting your database through email, maybe it's a small campaign that you just created. It's an email followed by a text message the day after, you know, hey, Tara, the email that you're setting out, the text message the day after, hey, Tara, I sent you an email yesterday with respect to a lot of changes with respect to the real estate in Ontario. Did you have a chance to read it?
I love that.
Right? Something like that, because it sparks the conversation that you can then, you know, things are shifting. You know, how is it going to affect you? Is it going to affect you?
Yeah. Yeah. Right? I love that. Here's one thing. I mean, if we only send it out once, right? Look at your odds of opening, right? But I love the follow-up, and I like the fact that if we can take a step back and go, we're coming from a place of contribution. These people are going to be blindsided. They really are, because I believe 99% of the public in Ontario have no clue that the Real Estate Act and our Code of Ethics have changed so significantly. So follow up, but start developing that really soft touch email that's you just saying, you need to be aware. Here's what's happened. Here's some of the changes. Please read this. You know, and following up with a text. I think I'd even, if they don't reply, maybe in another couple of weeks, you send it out again. Right? Or do we do a video?
Yeah.
Maybe that's something to think about as well. When we get a copy of the forms, December 1st, maybe inviting everybody on our leads to be part of a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Just trying to educate you. Here are the forms that you're going to be asked to sign, this one or this one. You tell me they're not going to use you? I think they're going to use you more because you're the only one that took the time to educate them before you show them a house.
Yeah, it's not surprised, especially the people that are currently, you know, may have gone and looked at houses unrepresented with a realtor, and now all of a sudden the realtor is now saying, nope, we can't go look at this house until you sign this.
And the problem, we now have to. You know, the buyer's representation agreement, Crystal, was put into effect about 18 years ago, and I was in real estate before, so it was such a new concept to us. Like, honestly, we were like, what? We couldn't believe it. However, we understood it. We got the reasons why. The difference that time to now is AREA and Rico did dozens of commercials and advertising informing the public of a BRA.
Yes.
So a lot of the buyers at the time had already started asking me before we even got the forms when they would have to sign it. Because it was commercials on TV, it was commercials on radio. And I think a lot of people are going to be blindsided when we now say, sorry, you know? So I've been, for at least the last 3 months, starting to slowly educate my leads. When a lead comes in and says they want to see a house, of course, I always asked, are you working with a realtor? 1,000,000%. Now I say, I need to ask you this question because our Real Estate Act has significantly changed. If you have a relationship already with a realtor, I don't even say working, I say a relationship,
Mhm.
then please note, I am unable to assist you. Because a lot of people have relationships with realtors because they're talking to them all the time, right?
Yes.
Right,
Mhm.
but you haven't signed anything yet because we only needed to have it signed at the very latest at the point of an offer,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I don't want to take somebody and show somebody a house now after December 1st if they've already been seeing houses for 3 months with an agent
Yeah.
and everybody's interpretation of working seems to be different.
Yes. Well, exactly, right? Have you gone to see any homes? This is a really big question to ask. Have you gone to see any
Yeah,
homes just yet?
yeah,
Right? Or is this going to be your first time out? That will also give you an idea.
yeah, exactly. So it's going to be interesting how it plays.
Yes. I'm sure it'll be probably a little bumpy in the beginning.
Yeah,
I imagine,
I'm
you
gonna
know.
try it this open house. Like I said, I'm doing the next Tressa update on Thursday at 1 o'clock.
Mhm.
I sat in very briefly on the same one last week, and it was very, very much more educational than some of the others that I've been part of.
Okay.
So, I'm going to try to field my way through it during the open house that I'm doing on Saturday.
Mhm.
But I'm just always going to, as I always do with my leads, I come from a point of information.
Mhm.
It's my job to let you know. It's my
Mhm.
job to inform you and just sort of field my way through it. I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit on edge, like how's it going to get responded? But
Mhm.
I guess that's part of the change. We just got to
Yes.
navigate our way through it. Yeah, but I
Mhm.
think this is a great opportunity for all of you to take advantage of informing the people already on your dashboard.
Mhm. And then was there changes as well with respect to the seller side, being able to make other opposing parties aware of the offer
Yes.
that's currently in the lead?
Yeah, so open bidding comes into play December 1st as well. We did get in the AREA webinar, we did kind of get somewhat of a visual of some of the new forms. It wasn't close up, which I needed because I'm blind. They kind of had them embedded into a PowerPoint presentation. So basically, sellers will be, we're familiar with a form called the seller direction. So if we're holding
Mhm.
offers, they have to initial that there's no offers before, December 1st, 2023 at 4 p.m. It's the same type of form, and I think it's still called the seller direction, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
Now it has, do they want to be part of the open bidding war system? If so, what are the things that the agent is allowed to disclose? And they can
Mhm.
decide, from what I understand, if it's going to be price, if it's going to be closing date, if it's going to be deposit, if it's going to be conditions.
Mhm.
They can say everything, or they can say, no, you can only do open bidding in regards to deposit.
Mhm.
But they have to sign that. If they choose, from what I'm understanding, if they choose during the process to now stop the open bidding direction, they then
Mhm.
have to sign that it now is no longer in effect and it goes back to the way that it used to be. Undisclosed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Undisclosed. Okay. But can
Now
they
that
go
being
from
said,
then they can probably go from undisclosed to open as well, right? So
it's
if they're like,
sounding
you know
like
what,
it.
we've got
Yeah.
way more offers than we thought, let's open this up so everyone sees
Yeah.
what the top contenders are, so we're not getting bombarded and bombarded with offers that have no chance, right? Well, it's
Yeah.
wasting, for a lot of buyers. Like I personally would want to know if I had no chance. I have no chance,
Why are you going to stay in
Um,
the game? And I think a really
yeah.
good realtor, once you know where you're at in the offer process, like what your people's bottom line top number was,
Yeah.
What I mean? And you're dealing with 20 offers, an agent's going to probably say, guys, don't get your hopes up. I mean, but
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be like this is all going to be new, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
anxious to kind of try the first one because I think once you get over one, your second one is going to be easier. And
Yes.
maybe some sellers that really don't want it disclosed. It's hard to
Mm-hmm.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an
Interesting to
interesting.
see
It's
the
gonna
benefit of it.
yeah. What I would love to see is some role plays.
Yeah.
If down the road, if maybe the powers that be could kind of give us visual mock-ups of
Yeah.
different scenarios, because
Scenarios where this would.
my kind of thing, and guys, tell me if you agree or disagree, but where I go with in regards to open bidding wars, at what point does it end?
Yeah.
Okay, so the price is disclosed. Are we still doing this at 3 o'clock in the morning because everybody
Yes.
can still continue to top up? Like,
Yeah.
where do we draw the line? And
Yeah. And I guess it's a matter of, okay, well, now everyone's prices are actually attractive. It's now we're looking at closing in conditions,
maybe
right? So it'll be interesting. It could help cap some of the properties that go crazy over asking that maybe shouldn't have. Obviously the sellers are happy in those
there's no
situations,
doubt about it.
but being aware of what the top price is going to prevent somebody from
Wait,
bidding, let's say $75,000 more when all they had to do is bid an extra 10,
right,
right?
right.
So
Yeah.
it's
And listen, at the end of the day, I mean, how many of us have seen this? Our property sells for 200,000 over and it doesn't friggin' close because it
yeah,
doesn't raise.
yeah,
I
exactly.
think there's benefits to reining that process in for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right now in Durham, we're really not in a bidding war situation.
Mm-hmm.
But as we've seen in the last 3 years, it can change on the turn of a dime.
Yes.
So, we'll let you know. And maybe going down the road, once we really get familiar with some of these forms, maybe this is something that we can kind of work with you and I
Mm-hmm.
in educating our people here, because I think those forms should really be shared with our leads,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just so they have an understanding. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's a reason to reach out to people as well, right? So some of us, we're always kind of stuck with like, why, what am I reaching out to them for? Like, they told me they're not moving right now. They told me all these things, and it gives you a purpose, a reason behind the attempt of contact with these
Right.
people.
Yep. Yeah, we always need something.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're coming down to the end of the year. So there's lots of things we can be doing too. We want to show our leads as much as that we're here strictly, we're here to educate them and be there for them when the time is right, be their realtor of choice. But don't forget as well that it's important for our leads to see the normal side of us.
Yes.
One of my best emails ever, Crystal gets tired of me saying this, but it's the honest to God truth, is the Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I throw it into one, and I get hundreds of replies back, hundreds. And I get replies like, thank you so much, Tara. We wish you and your family, the same, so it kind
Mm-hmm.
of adds that connection, Crystal,
Mm-hmm.
that I am more than just a realtor. There's a living, breathing
Yeah.
mom here.
Yeah.
And it's a real simple email. It's not all of the stuff that I do is very, just sending this out
Yeah.
there. Don't
Yeah.
forget to schedule that in. I think it's really important for them to see that human side of
Mm-hmm.
the name behind all those emails.
Yes, absolutely. And you have the ability to do that as well, as a campaign in your system. So if you want to preset the date that it goes out, like create it today, for example, and preset what day you want that to go out on,
Yeah.
you can do that. So it's not
Yeah.
in like when you're scurrying and you're like after the fact, you're like, shoot, I forgot to do that. We all get busy and distracted, and
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
happen. So it's a great way for various holidays. You can even build a campaign, really, if you wanted to, a full campaign of all the holidays. And it's just another way to, again, a reason to reach out, to connect.
Yep.
As Sarah says, show that you're human. Like, I am a person here. Like,
I think it's very good. I think that, there's something to be said about lots of people talk about the 33 touch, or are you doing a 12 touch? My email campaigns are very much driven to get people in my car, very soft, very I'm here if you need me type Tara idea. But yet there is other touches you can add. And I definitely think there are some major holidays throughout the year. Again, not everybody celebrates, and have our wording careful for sure. I just want to throw that out there. But I do think it's important to add that little bit of human touch into it for sure. What we do is I don't have a campaign that's strictly for holidays, but my campaigns are just driven into me and my persona. That's just who I am. My leads are a huge pillar of my business that I'll never ignore, but we do pre-do a lot of those touches. So I can tell you right now, by next week, our Merry Christmas, Happy New Year email will be in the system, and you can schedule it to go out. You can tell it to go out, on a certain day. When I send mine out, I never do it on Christmas Day, ever. It always goes out usually the 23rd, or at the very latest, the 24th. Typically, I do it the 23rd. I want it to enter just as they're getting in, but I don't necessarily want them to have it when they're busy with their family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
There's so much to do. So much.
Yeah. It is.
It's
and
exciting.
Obviously there's changes coming into effect. It's keeping in touch with your database. So that's, one way. We've got the holidays, we've got the new rules, changes in real estate is another way to stay in contact. What are some things like this time of year as well that everyone can be doing, or what you typically do to prepare yourself for that new year, to get that jump start, so that that you're starting January off, running, or trotting, at least with a full plate of things that you're accomplishing.
I'm always running. If I'm not running, then I'm not happy. Doesn't mean I'm always selling, but I'm always running. So this is why that's such a great question, because I don't think I know. From coaching so many realtors, and of course I do a lot of the training here too for our brokerage. It's easy for people to let Agent Locator just do its stuff and not really look at it. They don't get invested in watching their email notifications, knowing who's on, seeing what they've looked at. So for me, Crystal, as you know, I'm always watching my email notifications. That is as big a part of my life as having a shower every morning. I always watch who is coming back on the system, because that can tell a huge story that they don't necessarily reply to an email or answer a call or a text and tell us.
Yeah.
So I'm always reviewing once I get down to the quiet week. For me, a couple of weeks into Christmas, the week over Christmas and New Year's, right? Everybody's asleep, it seems. That's when I do my self-check. I have a whiteboard in my office. I know this is old school, but I want you to understand I'm not a young lady. So I still do a lot of old school stuff. On my whiteboard are all of my potential clients. And I look at that, I write their names down, and I write down if they're a buy or a sell. I'm super visual. I need to be able to know, especially at the end of the year, who I've talked to or shown houses to, or been in their home and did a CMA in 2023 that still haven't done business with me, but also still haven't said, no, I'm not doing anything. Maybe we haven't found anything. Maybe they're not motivated enough yet, whatever it is. So I go through my leads in case I've missed somebody and find out, who should be on that list. When I have that list, now I do what I say over Christmas and New Year's. I do what's called the Tara self-check. I look at my business. I look at where my business came from the year before. I want to throw this out there. I've been a realtor for a very long time. I'm the manager of my brokerage. I talk to agents all over. 23 has been a difficult year for the majority of realtors.
Yes.
So what I do in times like this is I can really be down on myself if my year is less than what it was the year before. It's ridiculous, Crystal. That's the way I'm wired. Oh my goodness, I'm down. I want to throw this out there. Nobody should feel bad about if their business in 23 was less than 22. Y'all can hold me accountable because I'm going to be crying the blues once I do my, and I've done my numbers, but I always do them again. But then I self-check. Okay, where, Tara, did you lack this year? Because we've all done or maybe didn't do enough in certain areas of our business.
And we have that feeling too, right? You kind of have this like, I know I didn't do it. I didn't do what I could do. It's like,
I should have door knocked more. I know. Like I'm telling y'all this right now. I know. But that 1 week is where I go, Tara, you could have done this more. Tara, could you have made more calls? Tara, and I really start the year off and I try my best to continue throughout the year to make sure that where I lacked the previous year, I don't lack the next year. And that self-check is everything to me. Having those people on my board, even if my board has 50 or 60 people on it, I want to know everybody I've talked to, everybody that I've had conversations with, because that's my motivation for 2024. So I walk in, I look at that board and go, holy crap, there's a ton of business here, right? Now I'm going to get rocking and rolling, right? So that's kind of what I do, girl. I really, really keep a self-check.
That's, well, it's important that we do that too. And holding ourselves accountable to it is really, I think is probably one of the toughest things for a lot of anyone that works independently, right? It's that self-accountability and making sure we're doing those things. Obviously, our business is going to be affected when we're not doing those things. But it's harder, I find, when you're not having somebody to report to, right? For a lot of individuals who are there's no one that's saying, hey, I need this by the end of the day, unless of course you have offers and things like that. But when it's self-building and doing and keeping to a schedule of things that you should be doing can be tricky for many people that are self-employed.
Yeah. I think here's what I think everybody needs. I think it's, over COVID, we all really learned how to work a lot from home. And I think that's great. Don't get me wrong. But I do think that if you have a brokerage that you could go into, put your laptop down and just sit around the vibe of other realtors, we have become such a huge society of online electronic signing. If any of you were in the business the years when I first started, even before the internet, we really knew the agents that we did deals with. You really had no choice but to see them, because it wasn't emailing and stuff like that. And I think that when you really get to know your fellow realtors, wherever you are, and have that, I still call it buddy. I said that earlier in our webinar. Have that person. Maybe the two of you together can be your own accountability partners. I think it's really good for you to do a check-in. I'm about to do 10 calls or call 5 people in my sphere and 5 past clients or whatever. And I think you're going to see your business go to another level if you have that person that you can do it with side by side or via accountability. It's made a difference when I have the agents that come in here and they just put their laptop in and all I do is just walk around. What are we working on? Okay, what's going on? All of a sudden now they're making progress in their business, right? Am I holding them accountable? Maybe to a certain degree. But you know what? I don't mind that because it just makes you better. And
Yeah.
I think this year, especially in January, once our interest rate starts to drop a little bit, I think you're going to see everybody come out of the woodwork again. So the more that you can work on your business, the more you're going to work in your business. And this is all just one of it. Have that business plan ready, Crystal. It's
Yeah.
really important.
It's figuring out that game plan. How am I going to approach 2024?
Yeah. You remember
Right.
when I told you on our last webinar, we had just hosted Storm Fletcher, and she is the Vice President of Business Development for the Richard Robbins International Organization. And she came in and spoke to our realtors at our Toronto office. And I was mesmerized. Anybody that's looked into Richard Robbins, he's a great realtor. It's a great coaching system. I'm not here to sell it, but it was really interesting to me when she started talking about all of the areas now that realtors can get business from. And I mean, when I first started, there was really only maybe 4. You know, you had to call people out of the phone book. You did open houses. You got business from people you knew, and you got business from your past clients. Like there was no internet, right?
Yeah.
Now there were over 14 avenues for us to get business, and social media was a huge one. So this is the time of year when we really want to look at all of the areas that you can get business and really start planning what you want to do January 1st, 2024. I almost said 2025.
Don't do that.
But you really want to look and see where you're going to work to fill your fund, right? And it's a really great list. I'm sure if you go on their website, for any of you there, I'm sure they probably have it somewhere there. But I couldn't believe the different areas now that you can get. Networking, joining networking groups has been a huge way for realtors to get referrals.
Yeah.
Right? Just open it up a little bit more, and then it might not seem so tough to get people.
Yeah, no, there's so many different things that you can do socially online. And really it comes to, I always say you do have the time. If you spend any time on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, any of those, take a fraction of that time, 10, 15 minutes of the time that you're spending on there a day, and do something for your business with it. So whether it's just posting something or sharing, like you have an open house, like whatever it is, if you do one thing a day that's targeted towards the growth of your business, whether it's trying to attract individuals or showcase things or motivation, whatever it is, your audience as well will start growing on Facebook or those social platforms, right? So, and more audience equals more business.
You know, an interesting thing that one of our agents do, he's fairly new to the country in the last 5 or 6 years. And he really, you know, his family still is in his homeland. So he went on or goes on Eventbrite. And where he lives, he just looks at some of the different events, because a lot of people now use Eventbrite to, you know, and he starts attending any ones that are of interest to him. And he does it because that's opening up his sphere of influence. He's calling it his networking pillar. And he'll go to different ones. There's usually 2 or 3 a week that he's attending. And he's picked up a lot of referrals. And once people, this so interesting thing about this business is once people know that we're a realtor, everybody wants to talk to you about real estate. So he goes in there with a purpose, of course, to meet people and to help brand himself, and you know, and they end up wanting more information and using them. Yeah, that's a pretty cool thing.
Yes, absolutely. It's finding something, and that's different. It's somebody thinking outside the box of finding a group of people that I don't necessarily know, right? And having conversation with them. It could even do it like there's all those different networking or groups on social media, or there's one that I have a realtor that's in Calgary that's part of, what do you call it? It's like what are those threads? like a texting thing. Anyway, forum for people who have supercars, because he has a
Oh,
supercar. He uses that is one of his pillars, is just that group alone, because everyone knows, because they're like clubs and whatever, they meet up, but everyone knows that he's the realtor. So he's gets
that's
business
great.
from this avenue about with something that he genuinely has interest in. And so
Yeah.
right away there's that connectivity with the people he's working with. They have
Right.
something in common already right off the get-go.
I think that's
So
genius.
so I think, like, for anyone, if you have hobbies or interests or what have you, find different groups like that where, you know, you can become the longer you're part of a group and the more you contribute to the topics of those groups, the more people start to, whether they met you or not, they recognize you, right? It's like they become these like online friends, your little online network of people who
Yeah.
like golfing, let's say. And then, you know, kind of, you can post, hey guys, I'm not sure if anyone's looking for a home. I have this great one. I'm a realtor, by the way, right? Or however you approach it in the group, then people are familiar in that area that now you're a realtor.
Right. You know,
Right.
to me, that's genius. You know, this is what I always say. It's one thing to go and to meet people and then get referrals, but what do you do with them when you get them? This is where again agent locator comes into play, right? Because you can put them into agent locator, you can set them up on a drip, set them up to get listings, and they're still good. So remember that this is a database that we have here that I use strictly for my leads, right? Wherever I get that lead, whoever it is, whatever referral, wherever it came from, boom, that's where they go in. And then, you know, they're being worked. And then you do, you know, you can still follow up otherwise.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, it is the season. So I want to encourage everybody, if you haven't done your business plan, really take the time to look at where your business came from in 23. That's really important. Find out each deal, where that person came from, and then you're going to know, you know, which of the pillars of your business has really brought you that or filled your funnel. Look at what you spent in each of those avenues, because that really teaches you what you need to do going further. And self-check yourself. Okay, I spent all this money on agent locator, but I never even opened the dashboard.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we know that you need to learn how to use agent locator. You need to learn how to use their drips and some of their others, because I'll tell you something. The reason I'm still with agent locator, it is still the biggest funnel of my business. It's still, to this day, I average every single year, my business is anywhere between 70 and 75% have come from agent locator. I currently have 3 listings right now, all from one lead on agent locator. So, you know, it's up to us. It's one thing to spend the money. It's another thing now to work that pillar and really feel like we're, you know, contributing to our business rather than just saying it's not working.
Yeah, it's and it takes time, right? So this is like, for you to get the business that you get through agent locator wasn't instantaneous. It was years of running, and you're like, I know you've talked in the past how you've had people in your drips for years, and all of a sudden they pop up and be like, hey, we're ready to go, right? Right. So it's a process. It's not instant.
There are some.
There are some, absolutely. There are definitely some.
You never know. Like, you know, my lead comes in and I jump for joy every time my phone goes off that a new lead is registered, because I understand, my mindset is, Crystal, that every lead has its own time. So I don't expect that lead to do business with me tomorrow, but I can tell you this: when that lead is ready, I'm definitely going to be one of the realtors they think about using.
Yeah.
100%. And there's no question to that. I'm not going to get them all. I get that, but I get a lot of them because I don't delete them if they're not ready. I don't care, right? You do you, lead, but I can tell you this: you're always going to hear from Tara Baylis. And when you are ready, you are going to think, shoot, I wonder if I should call Tara.
Mm-hmm.
And they do. So 6 years old. The lead that I'm currently doing 3 deals with, he came on in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 2.5 months ago, he replied back to one of my emails and said, I'm ready now.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Right.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
then you can have somebody that comes on and you're out the next day.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
rhyme or reason,
No, they're
right?
all over the place, right? And I think
Everybody's different.
they're not all unicorns that are ready to fly right away, right?
But I'll
They're
tell you, guys, I want you to remember this because I'm not sure if we're doing one in December, but if I can lead you with this, remember that even if they decide, they reply back and they say to you, I've bought a house, thanks, Tara. I don't get mad at that, Crystal. I don't. You know what? It validates to me that they came on my site, they were looking at homes, they were a serious buyer.
Yeah.
I never fall victim to the leads are no good. No, 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 no. Nobody say that to me because the leads are good. Because the leads have come on, they've registered because they want to see houses. They may not come on and be ready to buy yet, but everybody at some point in their life is ready to buy for the most part. And I'm okay with that because I've already paid for the lead. But I sure as heck am not going to delete you because you didn't answer me.
Yeah.
So
No.
if I had a nickel for how many buyers I picked up because other agents said, okay, you're not answering me, I'm deleting.
Yeah. Right.
Listen, I guess I could tell you go ahead and delete because they'll probably end up on mine and I'll get them even if it's 10 years from now.
Yeah.
But I just want everybody to just have that mindset that we can't force them to buy, but we sure can be there for them when they're ready.
Yeah.
Right? Merry Christmas.
As simple as that. As simple as that. To be your Hallmark greeting. Your Hallmark greeting video.
I gotta
for other
start making.
realtors.
Yeah, exactly.
Before we go here, Alyssa, because you had mentioned the website for the different various platforms, you had the speaker come in, and then you mentioned a website in that dialogue with Tony Robbins, I think it was.
It was Richard Robbins International.
Richard Robbins.
Yeah. So they've been doing a lot of tours. They've got a big, I think it's an event that's happening. It might even be happening today. But if you go on the Richard Robbins website, I'm hoping that you might be able to find that list of all the newest and latest avenues of getting business in real estate. There was 14, and it was phenomenal. Very eye-opening because it's stuff that I feel like that we just don't think about.
Yeah.
That's why,
it's sometimes looking and yeah, different perspectives and different.
Yeah. And if you can't find it, maybe reach out to Crystal because I do have Storm's email and I'm sure I can email her and connect you with those lists. Worst case scenario.
And then you run all your ads on Google, correct?
Pardon me?
Your Google ads, or do you have any Facebook ads?
I don't do Facebook ads. Not that Agent Locator hasn't asked me, Crystal. But right now my Google, I get more than enough through Google. But again, I also do the unbranded landing page. For my first 3 or 4 years with Agent Locator, I did branded. And they certainly did say, Tara, just try it.
Yeah.
Because I don't like change. I'm not going to lie to you. But yeah, it's like night and day. The unbranded, it's like night and day. I love it.
No, it does make a difference, the unbranded sites, that's for sure. And then if somebody is asking, if you don't mind sharing what you personally spend, obviously I know you fluctuate yours. It's never the same.
I tend to fluctuate it. I probably tick off Sunny, I'm sure, but I fluctuate it because sometimes I'll have team members and then they'll graduate and then go solo. Sometimes my team can also be overwhelmed and there becomes too many in their dashboard.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very conscious of this is my money
Mhm.
that I'm spending. So, if I have people that ask to be on my team and my team now becomes more than 3 and now I'm at 5,
Mhm.
I significantly have to increase my lead volume
Mhm.
because I
Yeah.
feed my team.
Yeah.
The most I've ever spent, I think, was around 1,800 lead volume a month.
Mhm. Mhm.
I toggle between 1,200 and then I just downed it to 900 right now
Mhm.
because my team has significant numbers in each of their dashboards. So
Mhm.
I just want to rein it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, just even though everybody goes on the drip crystal,
Mhm.
everybody does. I am very well aware that I can cope with a lot of leads,
Yeah.
but very
Not
few
everyone.
are like Tara.
Mhm.
So when I start seeing a significant volume, I'll rein it in.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. I think that was it for questions,
Okay.
but I think we covered a lot of various topics today with respect to, connecting with your leads, giving them the information, staying top of mind, educating them, right? So it's, and then preparing yourself for the new year and holding yourself accountable and creating that business plan.
It's very important. Now's the time when you're not busy, take advantage of creating your 2024.
Mm-hmm.
These are the only times we get.
Yeah, exactly. Um, what cases do you call when, I'm not sure, I don't sure if the second word is on, what cadence do you call when a lead first comes in? How often do you have a frequency? Okay, there we go. The frequency of your calls. I know that you've been calling a little bit more based on previous, because I know you would just kind of leave them for a while before you started calling them. So what is your call frequency, and when do you initiate that first call? I know it typically varies for you, depending on the
It
lead.
does. Yeah, it does. So my first call for many, many years before we had robocall dialers, meaning our cell phones are getting sold all across the world.
Yeah, right.
I would call the day, like the second the lead came in. I mean, that was my gig. I called right away. If they weren't in, I would leave a message, set them up, set them on the drip.
Mm-hmm.
But I did notice everybody that significantly changed. I didn't get people responding well. And I didn't get people that when I did get them on the phone that even wanted to talk. So I realized then that I needed to rein it in. I needed to see if I could rely heavier on my drip campaign to bring them in to communication as opposed to my phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been very, very successful as a realtor. I'm very blessed. I have a large drive. When I stopped making the phone calls and just seeing if my drip campaign could work, it worked. I probably had more people in the car via my amazing drip campaign than I did from the calls that I was making.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, I tried to toggle it again because I'm all about doing what is best for my leads. And we did start calling on day 1, day 2. I would toggle it to day 7. Where am I getting the best reaction? Where am I getting the more people that are willing just to say, hey, this is what I'm looking for? And I haven't been able to narrow it down, Crystal. I haven't. I'm still getting a large number of replies and people
Mm-hmm.
in the car from my drip campaign, from my like 3 times email and my welcome back after 30 days email.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying now day 15 to see. I'm trying day 30.
Mm-hmm.
But when I see a lead on my email notifications do things differently, they come on more often.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more driven to call them that way.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Bob, I see that you've been on the site a lot. I just wanted to say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything I can do for you? So I'm really focusing my calls that way.
Yeah.
That's not to say you shouldn't be making calls, because Nick makes calls. He has very good success. Bev makes calls. She has very good success. I haven't found that sweet spot yet to be able to say to you, yes, you've got to do this full time, make calls. My email drip campaign brings me a lot of business without me having to call.
Yeah. And it's really adapting to ourselves and creating what works best for not only your business, but also your personality as well, and how much time you want to be focusing on things, right? And how much time is available to do those different, some people can spend hours a day in their systems and some people can't. So,
you know, and when I wrote my phone script book, Crystal, and I know we're going over time, I'm so sorry. But when I was making calls, for me, if you put pressure on me to make calls, I'm out. Like I don't respond well to pressure or whatever, because I'm already my biggest critic. Okay. And I'm good at what I do. So for me, when I am going to be calling a lead, whether or not it's from the email notifications or they've booked a showing or an ask a question, whatever it is, I look at it this way. Tara, you're simply introducing your voice to that lead. So I don't go with a survey. I don't go with I have to find out if they're ready to buy. I go out of a place of contribution. Hey there, it's Tara Baylis from begintosearch.com. I just want to thank you for coming on my site. I really appreciate it. This is my cell number. If you need anything, please text me anytime. And then I allow the lead to direct the call. So when I just say that, Crystal and my friends, I'm just introducing my voice. It takes a large pressure off. And I actually, when I used to do this on day one, I've actually would leave a message saying the same thing. And I've had leads call me back and say, I loved your message. Can you show me a house? Right? So there's power in just thinking in your mind of doing it different.
Yeah, and playing around with things too, right? So it's, and yeah, coming from a place of gratitude, I know that works really well.
Yep.
People are a lot more receptive of that than anything else.
I always started off with, I just want to thank you.
Yeah.
And listen, if they want to get off the phone call quick, I'm good. I'm off. I just let them direct the call when it does happen.
Yeah.
But everybody, you've got this. Take advantage of your leads. There's a lot of business in there. One of our guests that we had about 2 months ago, Priscilla, one of her leads was a lottery winner. And she did a lot of business with that lady. So you never know when that lead hits your phone, what they've got behind them.
Exactly.
I'll never stop doing leads. Never. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tara. Thank you, everyone, for jumping in today. We'll figure out what's happening next month, if we have one, or if we're just going to wait the new year, but we'll figure that all out. But you guys will for sure get the notifications and awareness in our groups and what have you. And we'll see you all next time.
We appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Crystal.
Bye.